Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really diving deep into one of South Asia's most ancient cities, Multan. I mean, just think about this for a second. A place with a history stretching back, over 5,000 years? It's incredible. Often linked to the very dawn of Indo-Aryan civilization. And some traditions even connect it mythologically to Prophet Noah's great-grandson. It's just, captivating to explore a city that's seen so much right up to its role today. So our mission here is to unpack how Multan, sitting right there on those major invasion routes between South and Central Asia, acted as this constant crossroads, for empires, cultures, spiritual traditions. We're going to pull out the most compelling bits from our sources to understand, not just what happened, but why it's been so significant for so long.
Exactly. And the way we'll do that is by tracing its journey through these different eras, connecting the dots as we go. We really want to show how its strategic location wasn't just, a pin on a map. It fundamentally shaped its destiny, its culture, its economy. So, as we go through this, maybe keep this question in mind. What actually allows a city to endure, to thrive for millennia?
Okay, great question. Let's start right at the beginning then. Multan's ancient identity. It was known as Mulastana in Hindu tradition, yeah.
Yeah.
An early center, part of the Gandharan civilization. What made it important back then?
Well, what's really interesting is that even that far back, its strategic value was clear. It wasn't just some local spot. Around 500 BCE, for instance, it was already considered important enough to be the easternmost province of the huge Achaemenid Empire under Darius the Great.
Wow, okay. So already on the map in a big way.
Definitely. That tells you something about its importance, its connectivity, even before Alexander showed up.
Right, and speaking of Alexander,
Yeah.
this part of the story is really something. 327 BCE, our sources talk about this dramatic encounter. The local Marcoanian people put up this incredibly fierce resistance against him. But the detail that always stands out is Alexander himself supposedly getting wounded by a poisoned arrow during the siege.
That's huge, and it's still remembered locally.
It is, yeah, and it tells you just how formidable the Mammalians were. They defended their city fiercely, maybe even surprising Alexander's veterans. It probably came from, a deep connection to their land, a real spirit of independence. And after Alexander left, Multan didn't just disappear. It kept being this crucial crossroads. Power shifted native empires, tribes, then the Indo-Greeks, later the Kushan Empire, which lasted quite a while, from about 30 BCE to 470 CE. And true to form, it also weathered invasions by the White Huns in the 5th and 6th centuries, a really tough period for many other places. So that resilience is a theme right from the start. Okay, so as those ancient empires faded, how did Multan end up facing, the next big shift, the arrival of Islam? By the late 5th century CE, it was under the Rai and Brahmin dynasties of Sindh, right?
That's right, and that sets the stage for 712 CE, a really pivotal year. That's when the Umayyad general Muhammad bin Qasim conquered the city. And this wasn't just another change of rulers, it really marked the beginning of profound Islamic influence in the subcontinent. Multan, with its trade routes and everything already in place, was kind of the perfect entry point. It reshaped everything.
And it quickly became a major Islamic center, culturally, politically, leading to the Emirate of Multan in the 9th and 10th centuries. How did it manage to become an emirate covering such a large area, even parts of Punjab and Kashmir? What gave it that power?
Well, it had existing wealth, that strategic location we keep mentioning, and an ability to integrate different peoples. So it could consolidate power pretty effectively. It wasn't just about military might. It became an administrative hub, a center for learning and trade. That naturally grew influence towards it, which allowed it to be this, impressive independent state for centuries, controlling key trade routes, river access, stretching its influence far out.
Okay, let's jump forward to the medieval and Mughal periods. Now, Multan is really flourishing, right? Sources paint it as this buzzing center, commerce, agriculture, and especially Sufi mysticism.
Absolutely flourishing. And again, what's striking is the resilience. It was hammered by Mongol invasions repeatedly, forces that just leveled other cities. But Multan kept bouncing back, rebuilding, adapting, retaining its importance. Under the Delhi Sultanate in the 13th and 14th centuries, it even developed its own very distinctive architectural style. Those beautiful blue and white glazed tiles, that became a hallmark.
The famous Multani tile work.
Right. Exactly. A sign of its continued vibrancy, its unique artistic identity, even amidst all the turmoil.
And then comes the Mughal era. Babur conquers northern India in 1526, and Emperor Akbar makes Multan one of the original 12 provinces, the Subas, in 1557, with the city itself as the capital. Why was it so central to the early Mughal setup?
Its established trade, its agricultural output, its location on the way to Persia and Central Asia.
Yeah.
It was just indispensable for Mughal control, for revenue. And this period brought a massive boom, infrastructure, economy. The Mughals fortified it, built those big walls in 1627. It became a huge center for cotton textiles as famous muslins were exported far and wide. It was minting currency, and of course that tile making just reached incredible heights. And what's really fascinating, sort of telling, is its designation back then, Dar al-Aman.
Abode of peace.
Abode of peace, exactly. And that really points to about 2 centuries of relative stability, prosperity, a golden age in many ways.
And spiritually, too, right? That's when Bulleh Shah, the famous Punjabi Sufi poet, was born nearby in 1680. His work still resonates so much today. This abode of peace sounds almost too good to be true for that era. Was it really that stable, or were there underlying issues?
Well, relative is the key word, I think. It was peace under imperial rule, which meant taxes, administration, the usual aspects of empire. But compared to other times and places, yes, the stability was remarkable. It absolutely allowed culture and the economy to blossom. Scholars, artists, traders flocked there. It really cemented its identity as this spiritual heartland. But things change. After Emperor Aurangzeb died in 1707, Multan's fortunes started to decline, partly because Mughal power itself was weakening, fragmenting.
And there's that geographical factor, too, wasn't there? The river. Silting up, changing course.
Yeah.
How badly did that hit a city built on trade?
Oh, it was a fundamental blow, really crucial. The river was its lifeline for trade, for transport. When it became less navigable, it just choked the economic engine. Less river traffic, higher costs to move things overland. It lost its competitive edge. And it really makes you think, doesn't it, how much geography and shifts in the environment can dictate a city's fate over the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of that, Nader Shah of Persia invades in 1739. More destabilization.
Exactly. More conflict, another struggle for control. This eventually led to Afghan control starting in 1752 when Ahmad Shah Durrani captured Multan. Interestingly, the city walls were rebuilt again around 1756 by Nawab Ali Muhammad Khan Kakwani. He also built the Ali Muhammad Khan Mosque, attempts to restore order and grandeur amidst the chaos. And there was even a brief traumatic moment in 1758 when the Marathas took Multan during their northern push.
Really? The Marathas reached Multan?
Briefly, yes, before the Afghans took it back in 1760. It just shows how strategically valuable, how coveted Multan still was, even in decline.
Okay, so moving into the early 19th century, this is when the Sikh Empire under Ranjit Singh comes into play. He annexes Multan in 1818 after defeating the Afghan governor in the Battle of Multan. What was Sikh rule like?
Multan stayed important regionally under the Sikhs, still a key economic hub. But, another power was rising: the British. The British East India Company captured Multan in 1849. It was after a really long, tough siege.
Right, the Siege of Multan is quite famous.
It is. And after that, Multan was integrated into British India. It continued to develop, adapting again, becoming a commercial and administrative center, but now under British control.
And that brings us almost to the present day. Partition in 1947, Multan becomes part of the new state of Pakistan. So after all that, what is Multan's identity now?
Well, today it's widely known as the City of Saints. That's really central to its identity now. All those Sufi shrines, that deep spiritual legacy, it's palpable there. And it's still a major cultural, historical, and economic hub in southern Punjab. A living city absolutely built on these incredible layers of history. It keeps reinventing itself.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Multan's history. It really is this incredible tapestry, isn't it? 5 millennia, evolving through, ancient Indo-Aryans, Persians, Greeks, Islamic rule, Mughals, Afghans, British. And somehow through all that, it keeps this unique cultural, spiritual core. That resilience is just amazing.
Yeah, and if you look at the big picture, its journey really highlights how geography, culture, conflict, how they all weave together to shape a city's identity, its ability to endure. It's such a powerful reminder of how societies adapt, how they build on their past, constantly reinventing while holding on to something essential, like a living archive, really.
So what does this incredible story mean for you listening? Maybe think about this. We've seen Multan survive invasions, empires rising and falling, even the river changing course. What elements, what qualities do you think are the most vital for a city, not just to survive for thousands of years, but to keep thriving, evolving, becoming this living chronicle of human history? What makes a place truly timeless?